Hello and welcome to the Warhammer Meta Chasers. This is your weekly live best tournament rundown show for Warhammer 40,000 in the world, going over the biggest and best tournaments coming up on the weekend, this weekend. My name is Paul, your host. I'm joined by Dustin Henshaw.
Hello, everyone.
And Adam Camilleri.
G'day.
How are y'all doing? I already see the chat has come alive. Like I said, we do this each and every week live. We have a great chat community. Come and join us if you're listening to us on the podcast aggregators. You want to be a part of this. They're already talking about, some of the FAQ and balance and things changes. The world is on its upside down right now. We got two great events to bring to you coverage from. We have the Bristol 40K Super Major and TerraCon happening this weekend. How are y'all doing, Dustin, Adam?
I'm really good. Yeah, I'm really good. We're in the week waiting zone before the slate and MFM fully takes effect, and then in addition to a bunch of new, very worthy detachments hitting the meta as well, notably being the Dark Angels one, and then the Tyranids one actually gives the Tyranids a whole new archetype to play with.
How am I doing? I am doing fantastic.
That detachment could have stopped.
On a sheet.
Yeah, that detachment could have stopped at the first line.
That's what I said.
We said that.
That's literally what I said.
Like, if it just stopped at the whole army gets reroll once to hit, full stop, it would still be better than like 5 other Tyranid detachments. It would just already be better. Done.
Even the second part of it, I still would have been happy with just one of them. But get both, like, all right, yep, cool. This is my new detachment. All right.
Fair. It's good, man. It's quite good. And I don't know why. Don't know why they thought that -1 to wound, giving -1 to wound back to Dark Angels was the thing that needed to happen. But I ain't going to complain.
Nobody's playing them right now. So
the whole army though getting what transhuman physiology. Y'all
last
remember
edition,
what that did or whatever.
Yeah, and obviously they forgot.
Look, anything that helps breathe some life into some models and get people playing the game and enjoying it, I'm absolutely cool with. Speaking of which, it is, getting like 100 points out of your list if you're playing some certain characters that, everyone loves those characters. Talk about Mephiston, Astorath, Dante, Lamartise.
All of them. Every single one of them. Yeah, and then
Sanguinary Guard.
Well, dude, and Vanguard veterans. People aren't talking about that. Isn't that enough? But like injecting Vanguard veterans back into Dark Angels as like, the dust had barely settled on those models from like 6 months ago. And now everyone's like, clean them up. Let's go. Check them back in.
But that is next week, most likely, because these players at this event are going to be playing with what was yesterday's news. But we're going to make it today's headlines, and let's celebrate these players and this event happening all over the place. First event we're going to be talking about is the Bristol Super Major. This is from Bristol, England, 422 players. Already said what's up to folks in chat, but great to see you, Erwin, KR. See who else may be chatting. Sorry, it went by. Welcome. If you're just joining us, if you're going to one of these events, let us know. Dustin, what are we going to see there?
For the Imperial Super Faction, there are 3 Imperial agents. 3 Imperial. Wow. Okay, I got to stop on that. 3 Imperial agents. Wow. I was about to glaze over that. I don't know what I was thinking.
It is still 400 players. That's less than 1 per 100.
Okay, I guess that's fair. But still highest representation of Imperial agents I've ever seen. Let's be real.
Let's use that as the metric. However many 100 players.
However many 100 players. Yeah. Okay. It's like every 1 in 100. So that's the percentage. That's the percentage we go by. So right now, like we're talking less than 1%, but we're still
correct.
It's still 3. All right. Give them a break. 9 Sisters of Battle, 24 Custodes, 3 Admech, 21 Astra Militarum, 10 Grey Knights, and 19 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 23 Adeptus Astartes, 10 Dark Angels, 2 Space Wolves, 28 Blood Angels, 6 Black Templar, and 4 Death Watch. Chaos, there's 22 Chaos Space Marines, 18 T-Suns, 30 Death Guard, 20 World Eaters, 18 Emperor's Children, 13 Demons, and 16 Chaos Knights. Xenos, there's 25 Necrons, 12 Orcs, 16 Tau, and 15 Votan. Hivebind, there's 18 Tyranids and 16 Stealer Cult. Eldari, there is 6 Drukhari and 26 Eldari, meaning the faction podium is Death Guard, topping it off with 30. No real surprise here. Blood Angels second with 28. I bet Paul's happy about that. It's actually no real surprise because Blood Angels are probably the best Space Marine right now. They just are.
No, you don't have to say right now.
Right now. Oh, you don't even I have to say right now. I have to right now. Eldari behind them with 26. Necros behind them with 25. And Custodes behind them with 24. That's a very, very close top 5.
Absolutely. A beautiful, nice little step down here with there's no over and above. There's no cliffs on our faction podium. We're always very happy to see that. Some of these numbers are going to change dramatically, most notably being the Eldari numbers. Very interested to see in even just next week what those numbers do. And then the other one I'm really keen to see, the other two I'm really keen to see is what happens with the Tau and Adeptus Sororitas numbers moving forward. Because, of course, 9 Sisters of Battle is kind of on par for what we've seen from this number of players, but only 16 Tau. I expect that to skyrocket immediately up until the mid-20s of something of this ilk, of a event of this caliber and numerosity. But outside that, not huge surprises on the faction breakdown. I will note that usually it's not Blood Angels number one of the last 3 months. Usually it's been Adeptus Astartes is the number one taken Space Marine, but maybe this is just the beginning of the wave back to the Blood Angels, because I think they're going to be extremely well positioned moving forward. And the fact of the matter is, I think vanilla Adeptus Astartes was actually going to be having trouble, even if they didn't cop any changes, was actually going to be having trouble into the cult specific Legion pile that I expect to see for the coming months, that being the T-Sons, Death Guard, World Eaters, Empress Children. I think either or any one of those, possibly even two of those, could be built very, very well to beat up on the old Calgar, Gilliman, Hull spam. I call it Baby Ironstorm, is how I used to refer to that archetype. It's we got Ironstorm at home.
Ironstorm with extra steps.
Yeah. Necron's still in great representation as well. Orcs, of course, taking hits. I'm very my heart goes out to the Orc player out there, because times didn't get better for you, and they're not going to get better for you in the next couple of weeks, but you'll still be doing fine. Warhorde's still going to hang in there. So there's still some green tide goodness for teams open as well.
I kind of feel like, as far as the still blue skies for the Eldari as well. I know we mentioned they're going to have some changes, and there was definitely, it's not just the Yannari special rule, but also some points on some of the squads that were being taken in excess. But there are 2 or 3 other good detachments in that book, and so if you are a fan of the faction, you don't got to change much.
All that's going to happen is all the fair weather Yannari players are going to drop off, and all the Eldari lovers and enjoyers and the people who will play their Eldari regardless are going to find a new lease on life. The win rate for Aspect Host and Yannari wasn't that far away from each other. Aspect Host was already a very good detachment worthy of taking in your little internal balance between
War Host went deep a couple weeks ago also. So those great detachments just
And Aspect Host has more ability than most to dodge some of the points increases. They're the one that gets away with taking 10 Fire Dragons, which didn't go up in points, and making that look really good. I mean, you strap in Fuegan in there, or you chuck in the Autark that has the perma reel once to wound on them, and they absolutely slam into. Especially, they're actually one of those to watch, because then you give the due modality of them just slamming Terminator chassis as well, which is what we're going to see from Death Guard and now Dark Angels also. So I don't mind that pivot. There's a bunch of others as well where you can dodge, dip, weave around. I think War Walkers now going down 10 points each as well. A single War Walker makes into a bunch of lists. They give a very relevant buff to your army also. And I think they're down to 85, or was it 85 down to 75? I can't remember. But either way you cut it, I think they're very takeable now too.
Oh yeah, for sure. They have so many options. It's the Orcs too. We got to remember, Orcs are fungus, right? So doesn't matter how much you nerf them, they're going to keep cropping up.
Well, a lot of Orc players have very, very deep collections, and so if there's one unit that does get, a little bit of, I guess, attention, in one way, they probably have something on their shelf to bring it back in, which is always cool with Orc players.
Look, you hit the fungus with the flamethrower. Sure, gets knocked back for a bit, but it'll spread, it'll regrow. They'll be fine.
Yeah. It'll just
Gazgirl Thraka's entered the chat.
Gazgirl himself.
And then downvoting people also notice that the Imperial agents are on the meteoric rise.
They're on a tear.
They're on a tear right now. 3 of them out of 422. Man, that's just
astronomical.
Astronomical.
All right, I have done 2 breakdowns for us. The first and foremost being the Death Guard detachment breakdown. Of course, if we were going to point at anything you want to meta against right now as the Meta Chasers, you want to have a good game versus Death Guard as it sits right now, or you want to have as good a game as you can versus Death Guard, because you're going to see them towards the top end of most events. And of the 30 taken here, we have 18 Virulent Vectorum. that being the upskinned index detachment. Of course, that'd be the easiest one for the majority of players to just pick up and play because it's the closest to what the index was. 8 Mortarian's Hammer, that being the one that's much more hull based, spamming out those blow drones, maybe taking PBCs, stuff like that. The Mephitic Blight Haulers.
The Blight Haulers, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, well, there was a list that Dustin and I covered over on part 2 that won. That top scored one of the larger team events last weekend that had 6 drones, so 3 flamer drones, 3 heavy blight launcher drones, 3 single Mephitics, and 3 PBCs. So they're rocking the 12 hulls, and that thing is rough. That is a great list. Then we got 2 Flybone hosts, 1 Champions of Contagion, and 1 Shamblewright Vectorum. And yeah, that's your 30 Death Guard players and their detachments. Now, what would you guys say are great to have in your list for Death Guard? If you're gonna counter meta Death Guard, what should you try and have a solution for?
Death Shroud.
Yeah,
Death Shroud they come down very reliably is good, and honestly, you need some long range shooting too. I mean, to get rid of the blow drones. I mean, so if you can counter those a little bit, then you'll have a much better shot.
Yeah, the 2 things I see is the thing is it's actually a big problem once the Death Shroud hit the board. That's actually already too late. The best way to do it is just have more screens and infiltrator bubbles so that they just don't go where they want to go.
Well, they got to be afflicted too, right? So the other thing that's what you're referring to is if you can stop the units being afflicted, then they can't do the
6-inch deep strike charge. Exactly right.
Granted, you do run out of time, if depending on turn 3 if you're not prepared for it, but it's something to at least attempt to do.
And then finding a solution, finding a 1-unit solution that'll pop a heavy blight launcher blow drone is the other thing I try and make sure you got 1 or 2 of in your list, just so those 3 don't stick around all game. Because if you're going into the end of turn 4 and they still have 3 of those bad boys on the table, chances are you've lost already. So trying to get 1 down on turn 2, 1 down on turn 3, and then do what you can with the rest. But those are the 2 things that I'd be just try and find those solutions in your lists. The next breakdown I have done, and this is something that I'm going to start doing now that we're a little bit further into the ITC season. This is something I'm going to start doing where we have a massive event like this. I pick out every player in attendance from the top 20 of their region, of which I think there's 6 or 7 in the top 20 in the UK in attendance at this event. And I'm just going to list down their name, where they are in the ITC, what their army is, and what their detachment is. And that is our next slide. So of the top 20 in the ITC, first place, Josh Roberts, who won the dang thing last year, is still in first place in the ITC in the UK. He's playing Adeptus Astartes Ultramarines Stormlance Task Force, which usually means a big old flyer, usually means a Storm Raven. Then we have Greg Chamberlain in 4th in the ITC in the UK, playing Leagues of Votan Oathband. Andy Quaz-Cohen, 7th, is playing Necrons Star Shatter Arsenal. He only plays Necrons. He is a Necron specialist. Joshua P, ranked 9th, is playing Chaos Space Marines Chaos Cults. So playing the Horde CSM detachment. Then we have Nate Waite, and his parents should definitely have a look in the mirror after that name. 16th in the ITC, playing Adeptus Custodes Shield Host. And then lastly, we have Reese Darwin, 17th in the ITC in the UK, playing Imperial Knights Noble Lance. And what you will notice is there is not a single double up amongst that top 20 players in attendance by the ITC metrics.
That's awesome. I love it.
I mean, how long are they going to stay top 20 when they're not taking Death Guard?
Wow. Well, that's the thing, right? Not one of them's taking Death Guard. There isn't a Blood Angel there yet. We'll see. There is still a Necron. There is still an Ultramarines. There is still a Votan. There is still a CSM, Custodes, Imperial Knights. So there is a couple of our faction podiums in attendance still. But the fact that this is a thing, demonstrates more than anything else we could do that the game is in a very good place. The meta is very healthy because I swear to God, I could have done LVOs previously where I picked out the top 20 in attendance, and I dead set reckon more than half of them would be playing the same army, same faction, same detachment, same everything.
Yeah, of course, they're being slightly facetious as you picked up on, but but these players are the players that are doing consistently well across multiple events are going to have plans for whatever they expect to encounter as well. And some of these lists that we talk about are going to be on their mind, and they've still chosen to go another way, which further highlights the skill of the pilots out there being one of the top things, like the list and taking tools to compete with the objectives, the scenarios you're gonna face, and then skill of the pilots seems to be, if not one, in the top 2 spots in those priority rankings.
Well, you're nailing on the head ball, because we're talking about a meta that is so healthy right now, and it's changing rapidly. Like, we get changes very frequently, more changes than we've ever gotten in the history of 40K. It is less viable to be competitive when you're army hopping. It's better to focus on one army and just get really, really good with it no matter what happens.
Entirely freaking agree. I will say I look forward to doing the next UKTC Super Major and doing this same breakdown, and because this is a great little snapshot of the health of the meta. So if we see things become much more stratified in a month or two, when all the new changes are in, everybody's settled on what they want to play, post MFM and Slate, and we check back in with this. Yeah, I'd be really happy to see look something similar, but I don't expect it will. I expect it'll look a little bit more stratified, but not too much more, because I think most of these detachments and most of these armies that we're looking at stayed the same or got a little better. I mean, obviously, I think Josh Roberts is going to jump back onto his Necrons or his Blood Angels, which are two of the other main factions he plays. Greg Chamberlain's just, I think he's on the WTC team, and it looks like he's going to be piloting Votan, or at least a shooting-based faction. Andy Quaz-Cohen only plays Necrons, so we'll see what detachment he decides to change to. But I will tell you, of course, that we know on our three predominant terrain formats that we play on, UKTC, WTC, and GW formats, shooting is a little bit more advantageous on UKTC than the other two. And so Star Shatter holds up a bit stronger there. Whereas on WTC, things like that, there's a lot more times where you prefer to go Awakened Dynasty and have a bit more board control rather than just trying to blow people up. And then, dude, Chaos Cults. What is going on there? I can't wait to see on our part 2. Look back at this on our part 2. I'm actually going to specifically check on how Joshua P does with the Chaos Cults, because Horde CSM hasn't been a thing for a while.
Joshua P's been rocking his back workouts, man. He's ready to go. He wants to try it.
Yeah.
Putting it to the
Are they
doing
potentially
planks?
Are they using the new missions? Like, are they still on Pariah Nexus, or is it?
I assume they're on new missions.
Yeah.
New missions have been out for 2 weeks.
Have they?
2 weeks or 1 week?
I can't remember when they went. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I know what they are. I know they exist, right? But I get sometimes with the pre-orders when we know about them, and then when they hit, it's like when they get adopted.
Well,
I know that. So that's why I'm asking the question.
So the reason I'd say more often than not is that if anybody's going to be using them as soon as possible, it'll be the UK who will have more supply, closer contacts with distribution centers and stuff like that. So I'd assume they're new missions, but we'll see. And yeah, then after that we have not even Lines of the Emperor or what's the other one?
Kara says technically this Saturday is when they drop live. So
okay.
I guess maybe the reason I ask is that, of course, some of those missions, the secondaries are different, and that does influence, maybe what somebody may take. So
yeah, spot on.
So next week we're going to have again especially in a couple of weeks, how this list all changes, if it does.
Holy crap! So the new missions aren't even in play yet. So starting next week, we have new missions, new points, new rules, new detachments being injected. It's like a whole new patch for 40K. It's wild. Yeah. But yeah, so Adeptus Custodes here being played by Nate. Not Lines of the Emperor and not Solar Spearhead. So the two that we have been more accustomed to seeing. So just playing the bog standard shield host. So backing himself in on the all-rounder, so to speak. And then in Pure Knights, Noble Lands, we just know Knights are doing well here, there, and everywhere. So very strong.
Well, what's going to win this thing?
Time to pick up some winners, boys.
Yeah, what's going to win this thing? And Adam, I think you had a great month last month.
Yeah, which means I got to pick last. I did.
Well, congratulations. I think you've been going a bit of a dry spell.
Yeah, you're on the board. You're on the
4
board.
months. For a third of the year was my dry spell. Bit more of a spell, bit more of a desert, barren wasteland. All right, I'm going to 50-50 this. So, Paul, you want the 1, 2, 3 or the 4, 5, 6?
I got to go 4, 5, 6, man.
All right, Dustin, here we go. It is a 3. Dusty boy, you pick first.
Adeptus Astartes.
Astartes, of course, picking the number 1 player in the world. That's pretty fair.
I'm going Death Guard.
Yep, that's also
playing the numbers, and it's solid. I think there's some.
Now what are you gonna do, Adam?
I know. Dang my well doneness. I'm gonna go the BA. I'm gonna go Blood Angels.
Yeah, that is Blood Angels. If it was like next week, Blood Angels 100%.
Yeah, that's fair.
I said I played with the new points in the Blood Angels too, and you feel like you get a little bit more activity. You can engage in different areas of the table. Feels good.
Mm.
Feels good. Next event we're going to be talking about is Terracon. It is from Naracoorte, South Australia. Australia.
Well done.
I'm just going to
I
keep
think-
saying Australia until somebody cuts me off. Australia.
Australia?
Australia.
Australia.
Get rid of that A. Get rid of that
There
A
you
in
go.
that U. Australia.
Australia. There you go.
Straya.
With respect, I said that with respect, not as an impression.
No. It's the same as America.
That's so got 127 players, 6-round event. Will we see same percentages? What are we going to see there?
Absolutely not. This
no.
is a mess of the meta.
What is going on down there?
You mean for a nation and continent known for its innovation?
Oh, okay, well, let's see what's innovating in the future here. The Imperial Super Faction, there are 2 Sisters of Battle, 9 Custodes, 3 Admech, 7 Astra Militarum, 2 Grey Knights, 13 Imperial Knights. That's not ahead of the meta. That's just the meta, guys. Come on. Space Marines, there's 5 Adeptus Astartes and 2 Space Wolves.
That's wild. Wild.
What? There's no Astartes.
Absolute destitute. There's just no Marines. No Marines in South Australia.
If everyone in your country has taken 2 damage weapons, you got to figure out something else to do.
True. Okay. Well, did they all move to Chaos? It looks like they did, because Chaos, there's 9 Chaos Space Marines, 4 T-Suns, 11 Death Guard, 10 World Eaters, 7 Emperor's Children, 7 Demons, and 5 Chaos Knights. It is the Eye of Terror in Australia right now. What happened?
Australia's always been a bit chaos heavy, to be honest.
I guess that's fair, yeah.
It's always.
But I mean, that little Space Marines?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, that is surprising. It is surprising that there's just like no Astartes.
That's wild. All right. Xenos, there's 6 Necrons, 4 Orcs, 6 Tau, and 3 Votan. Highbind, there's 5 Tyranids. No, oh, come on, guys. No Gene Stealer cult. Eldari, there's 2 Drukhari and 5 Eldari, meaning the faction podium is Imperial Knights, topping it with 13, followed by Death Guard with 11, then World Eaters with 10, Custodes and CSM at 9, and then Astra Militarum, Demons, and Emperor's Children at 7. Wow.
So
wild.
But still, like the top 4, actually the vast majority of the things on the faction podium are on the podiums most of the time.
They
of course,
are.
Astartes is missing, and this thing is well and truly out of order. Like completely out of order. Imperial Knights is usually 2nd or 3rd. Death Guards have been 1st ever since their codex, got released into the environment. Custodes and Chaos Space Marines being on the podium is no surprise there. Astra Militarum, no surprise as well. Demons either. But what's wild is, once again, I'll reiterate, if you added up the 5 Adeptus Astartes and 2 Space Wolves, they'd only make it into 5th spot on our podium. They join Astra Militarum, Demons, and Emperor's Children with 7 in representation for the entire super faction. And that is insane upon our, looking upon our global metrics.
Yeah. That
for the rest of the world. I mean, 5 NIDs, it's fine. Usually we're a little bug heavy in Australia as well. Usually we've got plenty of, some of the strongest Tyranid hive mind players in the world down under. So usually that carries a bit of a wave with them. Mm-hmm. And yeah, but apart from that, it's a lot of chaos, boys. It's a lot of chaos.
So much chaos.
Yeah. They're like essentially, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 7 Chaos Space Marine sub-factions made our podium.
That's insane.
Yeah. So this is nice. And I pulled out 1 top player in attendance, who's the 7th ranked player in the Oceanic region, which is essentially the southern hemisphere of the world. Essentially, it's Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Thailand, all of Southeast Asia. He's currently ranked 7th with Tau Empire and a Kroot Hunting Pack. His name is Marcus Butler in attendance. And I'm very interested to see how this list does here.
Hunting Pack. Okay.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Usually when I hear Kroot Hunting Pack, I'm like, probably a team event. And it's probably playing, 100, 120 Kroot and just going haughty with it. He is not doing that. So he's got Shadow Sun, a Kroot Shaper with Nomadic Hunter, just 10 Kroot Carnivores, 2 Hammerheads, 10 Farstalkers, 2x5 Hounds, Kroot Hounds, 3x6 Rampages, so the max Rampages, 2x3 Kutrox Riders, 3 Skyrays, 2x3 Stealth Suits, and 5 Vespid. So 5 premium long-range tanks in the 2 Hammerheads.
Do the Skyray still have the indirect fire?
If you choose to take it. Yeah, if you choose to take it, they still have the indirect. Most often than not, I see people go with the accelerator burst cannons. More often than not. Sorry, that might be the hammerheads I'm thinking of as well. But yeah, the rampages. So essentially taking 5 premium tanks with 3 good counter assault units, and then just a huge amount of MSU nonsense here, there, and everywhere. I'm actually quite a big fan of this list. I think it strikes a very nice balance.
That's an interesting take on the crude hunting pack. I kind of like it. It's more my style because I really like the MSU style of play. So I am interested to see how this plays because I don't know how much it leans into the crude hunting pack because I don't know it well enough. So I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just like, I ain't know it.
Fair. Well, those Crotox rampages, move 7 T6.
Those are actually crazy. Those I know. They're crazy.
They've only got a 5-up save, so they're relatively easy to squish as long as you can handle a toughness 6. But they still have 5 wounds and they're OC 2. They're scout 7 as well. So there's actually a lot of scouting and infiltrating in this army. So they're going to have a lot of good board, like mid-board pressure early. And then they've got pistol shot. We're not going to talk about. Their close combat weapon has lance and 3 attacks on the charge at 4-1-1. And then the fists of the actual beastie boy is sustained hits 1 with 4 attacks at 6-1-2. So not great AP wise. But 7 attacks per model in a unit of 6 is just a deluge of dice. It's like you're throwing orc dice, essentially, quantity. And then they have the same ability that the blood crushers have in demons, where on the charge you roll a dice for each model that got into engagement range, and every 4+ they take D through 3 model wounds. And then if any enemy units were destroyed, you must take a battle shock test. On that one. So I'm actually a bit of a fan. I think the Crotox rampages for 170 for 6 are actually pretty dang good value.
That's pretty good. I'm down with it. I
did just look up the Sky Raid. They do not get indirect on the main guns. I thought there might be some reason, but they do reroll against flyers. So, sorry, things with the fly keyword, not flyers.
There's nothing in the meta that has the fly keyword right now.
He's being facetious.
He's very. If you can't see the camera, I looked right at
it. The nomadic hunter enhancement is just for the shaper. While the bear is leading a unit, add 3 to the move characteristic of models in that unit, and ranged weapons equipped by models have assault. That is a very good 20-point enhancement, plus 3 move and assault on the squad. I mean, he's going to either join I think he can join either the Fast Stalkers or the just regular old Kroot. Trail Shaper. I believe that is correct. Has Infiltrator, Leader, Scout 7, and Stealth, and can join the Fast Stalkers. So I'm assuming he's going to go with the Fast Stalkers and Scout right up the table.
No.
But nice list, and I like the balance that this sits in the rear view mirror of that faction breakdown, because it has the 5 premium tanks to play against the Imperial Knights, as in the Hammerheads and the Sky Rays, and actually could probably punch a baby knight to death with each unit of rampages, depending on how many mortals you're able to do.
Yeah.
And the mortals will bypass the toughness, bypass the armor save, invulnerable save, etc. Where it gets interesting is how this racks up against Death Guard, and I think that'd be a fantastic game to watch. So good stuff, Marcus. Hope you do really well with the Tau. And boys, how much better do you think Tau gets, next week? Because I think they get exponentially better.
Exponentially. That's the best word to use. They get exponentially better. Will they take over the meta? No, but you got to be ready for them.
you got to have a solution.
But they haven't actually been in the conversation of the meta either, and I think that the change may help get them there.
Yeah,
with more consistency.
Spot diddly on, boys. All right, time to pick some winners. So Dustin picked first. So Paul, you pick first.
Oh, for this one, how can you not pick Knights? I mean, I guess
I will tell you, Knights are always overrepresented at this event. I think this is the 3rd or 4th time we've covered a Terracon, by the way. I've played at like 4 or 5 of these events, and it's like a bit of a destination event where a lot of people go to sink beer and talk crap. And so a lot of people...
Maybe that's why the Knights are there.
Yeah, that explains
Even if Knights weren't good, Knights would have strong representation at this event. So I don't want to gotcha you with me having a bit more knowledge of the
look, I'm sticking with it.
In attendance.
Imperial Knights it is.
Fair.
If that's what this event is about and people are having fun with it, then that's what I'm picking.
Good man. Dusty boy.
I'll go Death Guard.
That's very fair. And because I have a bit of knowledge of this meta and the players in attendance, I'm picking T-Suns. And it's only fair. It's only fair that I picked last because I have a bit more knowledge of who's going.
That is completely okay. This is a brand new month, so we could this week can go sideways, and there's still plenty of room to climb back. So what I mentioned there is we do a part 2 of the show for our Patreon subscribers of tier 2 and higher, to where we actually go back and look at the events that occurred. We see how well our predictions held up. We score ourselves and how well the predictions held up, and then we also do a little bit of trash talk against each other. On that. But we also go over winners, the list of winners, and any novelists that were standouts from the event. So if you are able and have not chose to support the show in that way, check out the Patreon. Any level's great, but tier 2 and higher gets you access to a second part of the show that we do most weeks, about an extra 30 minutes of stuff that goes up just to those subscribers.
Was posted yesterday with the lovely Dustin and myself. We had a good old time looking back at those 3 big team events we covered.
This is the part of the show, though, where we talk about some stuff that typically does not have anything to do with 40K at all. This is like after we talked about the stats, the numbers, the winners and losses. We like to have a little bit of a palate cleanser before we get into the rest of your week. We call this segment the Fuego Rapido, where we give ourselves a topic and then a time, and once the timer clock hits 0, we don't talk about it anymore. We abandon it, never to return to it again, unless demanded by the Patrons group. But we've been doing things a little bit different the last few weeks. We've been ranking movies.
Mm-hmm. And we're into the finals, aren't we, Dusty?
We are. This is the championships, guys. I don't know what to tell you, but
so how were they seeded?
They were seeded based on how many votes they got each round. Only one made it through with no votes against it, and it wasn't the one I thought it would be either. Every other one had at least 1 or 2 that didn't get full votes.
So if you're just joining us for the first time in a couple of weeks, or the first time ever, over the past 6 weeks, I want to say,
8.
Or more, 8 weeks, we have been going through and essentially racking up the best in each movie genre, and we've been putting them head to head, and we have 3 votes to put on each one, so it's always going to be at least a 2 to 1, and we are into the end game. This is the Marvel Endgame of this.
I was thinking a couple days ago that we didn't have a best animated category.
We didn't actually,
but we had animated stuff in the other category, so one movie could have won twice. So it's probably
it's probably for the best. But right now, you are going to see the definitive, undisputable best movie of all time decided upon. And this is as airtight as anything has ever been. It's not really facetious or tongue in cheek or
no. This would be real. This is real.
There's no
real emotions.
Oh, this is real, guys. It is so real. But I mean, egos will be splintered, friendships will be tested. I don't know what's going to happen here, but
relationships torn asunder,
relationships
foundations shaken. Harvard scholars and Oxford scholars are going to look back on our decisions as gospel and will enshrine them in great texts. I expect
this will make it on to someone else's trivia.
Oh yeah,
contest.
I will.
Who did the Warhammer Meta Chasers select as the best film of all time?
That's right.
On the 6th of the 6th.
If you're here live, make sure you give us your opinion in the chat, because it could sway one of us to votes in your favor.
And also, if you are just joining us, you do yourself a favor and go back and check out some of those to see how we got here. But this is the winners of all the other previous bracket contests, where the brackets were randomly seeded, and so certain contestants could come up against each other at different rounds and decide who went on and who didn't. And there was some tragedies along the way.
Oh, there's gonna be so many tragedies today. Like this is the winners of all.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. First off, oops, I gotta go to the next one. It's all about the suspense. The only seed to get complete unanimous votes in every single round: The Godfather versus Master and Commander.
Godfather.
Godfather.
It's Godfather, right?
Godfather.
Master and Commander's of course, great. And like,
It's
how do you not
it's a
like Russell Crowe and Paul
Round
Bettany or
one
whatever?
is going to be
It's-
fairly easy in this one because of the seeding. So
yeah, because it's one that got like the most votes in its run versus one that got probably one of the lesser votes in its run.
Oh yeah,
but
Master
yeah,
Commander was the one that actually only had 2 votes in most of its.
had the biggest fight.
Had the
hardest fight because the genre was very deep. Whereas the Godfather's genre was very deep, but the Godfather is that good a freaking movie. You know, top 3 films that have ever been made, in my opinion. So yeah, it's Godfather for me.
Yeah.
Godfather.
No. Okay, Godfather
3-0.
keeps its record.
Does.
All right, next up, Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back versus Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade. This is the one that was
okay.
This would
it
be
was
easy,
easier,
Dustin.
but this is 4 and 5, so these are both tied. So like
So the middle of the series versus the climax of a series.
yeah.
You know, it's Empire Strikes Back, though. It's still Empire.
I'm Indiana Jones.
Really?
Yeah.
It's Empire.
It's very close. Do you know why I like these two versus each other? Because in my opinion, they're both like failing franchises. Like this is the peak of their respective franchises, and they kind of only went downhill after this.
That's fair.
To a lot of intents and purposes. This is kind of as good as the filmmaking of these stories ever got. So I'm going indie. Paul's going Star Wars, and I'm going to be heartbroken and happy regardless. So I'm putting aside my emotions.
I already know which one I'm saying. I am looking at the chat to see where they're leaning, and so far it's almost all Star Wars. We have one Last Crusade. We have an Andor, Irwin. Okay, still Star Wars. Still
Andor's spectacular.
It is spectacular. Well,
hit me up. Let's talk Andor later. You know,
I have 3 episodes left, boys. I've been petering it out. I've been watching it very selectively.
Oh, you still have okay. My God, it is only like the rocket ship is taken off. I'm not gonna say anything, but there's like we got to talk about it when y'all hit.
That is my lunchtime show that I watch like during work hours when I have time. So that's looking forward to the next one. So my vote is for The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, I essentially assumed, and I wanted to give Indy a vote. I actually also think Empire should win this, but Indy deserves a vote. So.
That is completely fair. Fair. All right, next up, Ghostbusters versus 7.
Oh wow,
this is tough. But I gotta get it. I'm Ghostbusters.
I'm Ghostbusters as well.
Ghostbusters was seed number 2. It was the second seed, so it actually
it holds up. It holds up. Yeah,
7 was the 7th seed, so not too surprising, I think. But that's a 3-0.
Please.
I mean, I can expand on the reason why too. Sure. Like Ghostbusters is, it was basically unique at the time, where 7, although excellently done, follows a bit of a formula, and it's got a twist. But and of course executed by amazing actors along the way. But it's still kind of a bit of a
formulaic journey.
It fits into you could put it in a box, where Ghostbusters, when it came out the first time, was completely unique.
Yeah, I totally agree.
For 100%.
Yeah, I think Ghostbusters 3-0.
Yep, chat is like 1,000% behind the Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
we'll vote for 7. So there we go. And the last in round 1 of the finals here, we have The Shining versus Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, right?
And that's again, change stuff from the books, and I don't care because it looks so cool. That, like.
Yeah. I mean, how are they going to do the whole book though? How are they going to do the whole book justice? The Fellowship would have to be multiple movies, just the first. Like you got to add in Bombadil, you got to add in so many other characters that you have to kind of give time.
But that's what I mean. It's like making the changes, and then it's still just so cool. You don't even care. If you still preserving that love of the source material.
Yeah. And look, The Shining is a fantastic film. Absolutely spectacularly done by Stanley Kubrick, and the casting was fantastic also. Possibly, in my opinion, the best acting I've seen out of Jack Nicholson, who is one of the best actors in the world. And it's peak performance on every front, and the eeriness and the spookiness.
Oh, you feel it. It's Shelley Duvall, right?
Shelley
You feel it,
Well, it's scary without being violent, right? It's scary without like overt violence.
The axe in the stomach.
Until you get to the, until you
That
get
I
to the
still
final
have
act.
nightmares about.
No,
You know?
until you get to the final act, there's pretty much no violence. It's all just suspense, eeriness, and a fantastic sound, a fantastic score to like underwrite this thing. But still, Fellowship of the Ring is slam dunk. I just wanted to give Shining its day.
Of course. All right. That's still a 3-0 for Lord of the Rings, though. But The Shining, we salute you. So, okay. On to round 2, the semifinals. Now, I did something for this one just because I had it in my head what I thought was going to be the bracket. So I did. If you're watching this live, I pre-put these in. I can't change what's in here. So I pre-put in what I thought was going to be in the semis and the championships. We'll see if I was right going through here. Next up, The Godfather versus Star Wars Empire Strikes Back.
If you ask me what would I watch right now, it's Empire Strikes Back.
I would be Godfather.
I mean,
Really?
if they were on at the same time, what would I choose? It is Empire Strikes Back all the way. I mean, there are so many things. Like people have I know that there are folks that have like built a lifestyle and identity off of both of these movies.
Yes.
A
lifestyle.
But do or do not, there is no try.
Of the Godfather.
I'm saying,
he's not wrong.
It's not wrong. No, I'm going The Godfather simply because I do actually just think it is a better film. Like as a if I was a student of film, which one of these would I say is a better constructed story and narrative and everything?
You think they're gonna make Marlon Brando do flips on somebody's back? Talk about a better film.
I'm going Godfather. I genuinely think it's a better film than Star Wars, than Empire.
How many questions did they ask Han Solo when he was getting tortured?
None. They just tortured him.
That's right. None. It was a kid's movie. Like in a kid's movie. Like, what do you mean better film? Like,
that was the best thing about Empire, though, because the first film, New Hope, or just Star Wars, ended on such a high where everybody won, and then Empire is like everyone you love's taking the biggest freaking L you've ever seen. Luke, his arms off. Han tortured for ages, locked in carbonite. Everyone's on the run. Everybody lost in Empire. Like it opens with the rebels just getting demolished on Hoth.
Like you care about what happened to C-3PO. Do you care about any of the supporting characters in Godfather?
Yeah, I guess there is that. But man, like Godfather's fantastic. Godfather is spectacular.
It is. No, it is. But you said better movie, and so I'm like highlighting the things that I do
think it's a better movie.
Paul's taking offense. Paul's taking offense. Better movie. What?
All right, Dustin, it is in your hands and all the hands of chat.
Chat is actually kind of split on this. Mostly Empire, it looks like, though. Barely.
I mean, we have to take into account we are nerds with a nerd-based community.
We absolutely.
So,
I'm sitting right next to several Star Wars things. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can tell which movie you based your personality on.
Funny enough, I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but the first Star Wars movie I ever saw was Empire Strikes Back.
Really?
So
there you go.
When I watched New Hope, I was like, what is this? Like, this is so uplifting and happy. I don't understand what's going on. Is it the same movie? But I loved it, and that is definitely my vote.
See you, Godfather.
It was a good run.
2-1, and that was a very
good
one.
42 years or whatever of supremacy.
I already see the end game of this. I know what's in the finals.
Taken out by a Muppet.
At least it wasn't an Ewok.
Hang on, but no disintegrations. You can walk again.
Not allowed. No disintegrations.
All right, and the next one. Did I get it right? Ghostbusters versus Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. I did. Nailed it.
It's Fellowship for me.
It has to be Fellowship.
It has to be, right?
I think it has to be Fellowship. But I mean, okay, let's think about that for a second.
So the casting of both couldn't be better. Legitimately couldn't be better.
Yeah.
They even recast Aragorn to like one of the biggest upgrades in casting I've ever freaking seen. From whoever that guy was to Vigo, who like is Aragorn. Just like
you can't imagine him not being.
He kept the horse. He kept the horse.
Wasn't it like Russell Crowe or something? I can't.
No, it wasn't. There was a whole different guy. Maybe they approached Russell Crowe for the role.
That's what it was. Yeah,
he was probably in his Gladiator era and was asking way too much money.
In this life or the next, I will save you, Arwen.
Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters casting is absolute perfection as well. Sigourney Weaver, Bill Murray, Aykroyd, all those boys. It was
their synergy on film
so
is
good.
It's just.
Are you the keymaster? I am the gatekeeper. I still say that to my partner when I walk in the house.
Yeah. No reason. Yeah, it's solid.
But
this is tough. This is tougher than it seems.
Chad is split. It's tied right now.
I honestly think same as my call before. I think Lord of the Rings is a better film. I think the Fellowship for me is the best of the Lord of the Rings films as well. It's listed here because we the hosts and the people in chat voted for which was the best of its respective series. And Fellowship's easily the best. It's got everything. The linear story it plays from the humble, like everything's rosy and beautiful in the Shire, to where it ends with Boromir's death and the breaking of the Fellowship, going through the mines, the loss of Gandalf. Like, it is a hell of a ride. And
it is. There's a true vision that comes to life on the screen too. But with it is so respectful of the source material and be able to bring that together with the great like cinematography and all the things that we thought about in our heads for from the day you read about them made manifest on the screen.
Interesting comment in chat. Lord of the Rings has epic source material, whereas Ghostbusters was 100% original, as in worked off no source material. But still Fellowship.
Yeah, still Fellowship. I think it's still Fellowship. Is it?
I mean,
and
Bill Murray slimed in the hallway there at the beginning. That's like you knew you were watching something special, though.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, yeah. You did.
But this brings us to the final I predicted, which is it's the only final a nerd podcast could have.
It's true. It really is, and
it really is perfect.
The championship is, of course, I predicted it. I knew what was going to get. I knew we were going to get here because we're nerds, and this is our nerd face-off.
I got to get in so quick on this. I'm voting Fellowship of the Ring. Paul's probably going to go Empire, and Dustin, you're going to have to suck eggs and figure it out.
Well, I'm leading on chat if I have to do that. So again, for those of you that didn't follow this part, we are at Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back versus Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring. Which one is better? Which is the greatest film ever made?
In fact, which is the greatest film of all time?
Yeah. And chat is torn.
It's also really apt that both of these represent 2-3-part trilogies.
Mm-hmm.
And then both franchises essentially
don't exist after that.
The second trilogies. Did Paul just leave?
Yep.
He's turning his camera off. He's abstaining. It's too much for him.
I'm out. I can't do this.
He's having a crisis of culture. Oh, Dustin, you're gonna have to give your vote. Paul doesn't know what to do with himself.
He really doesn't. He's just gone. He's completely.
We may never see him again. That might be it.
Like
he may have left the show.
He's abstained. He's turned off his camera. He's still here. He's just turned off his mic and his camera. I know you're there, Paul.
I know. I had to think about. I had to walk this off.
I know you're there. You can't hide from me. I'm in the backstage.
This is.
Look, regardless of who wins this, the other one gets to be second best film of all time. So I'm at peace, but I do think it's Fellowship of the Ring. I'm gonna continue. Sting.
Ooh.
I expected you to. Genuinely, I expected you to come back from having turned your camera off with a stormtrooper's helmet and Gandalf's staff. Like just that's it. That's what I.
How much time do I have?
All that.
I can do it, Adam. I'll be back. Bye. Oh shit! One of you boys has to say something eventually. You fence sitters waiting for somebody else. I put my name in the sand upon the stone.
Well, yeah, but you also voted against Star Wars in every other round, so it's not really surprising.
Except for first round. I voted Star Wars in the. Well, no, sorry, I voted Indy just as like a token area. I wanted Indy to get.
Yeah, but you wanted Empire to.
So I don't think you can wear the Stormtrooper helmet while you make your choice, Paul, because means your choice.
Yeah.
Means you'll miss.
Yeah.
It means you'll miss. Yeah.
Oh, this is I didn't think we'd be in this situation, so
Really?
I am not prepared. No, I didn't. I really didn't.
Man, I figured it out. I predicted this when I made the slides.
Yeah.
I thought back on what am I essentially. I thought back like in the shower a couple of days ago when we did part 2, and I was like, I'm gonna have to pick the greatest film of all time. And then I went through. And I'm like, okay, we got an Indiana Jones, we got a Star Wars. I know the Godfather's there. I didn't remember Master and Commander though, and I'm like, what can I pick? What would I actually pick against Lord of the Rings here? I'm like, nothing. Lord of the Rings all the way.
So I watch these movies like all the time. Look, I got it like from the core of what was first in, I think it's got to be Empire.
You took 10 minutes, but you still did exactly what I said you were going to do.
Like they're just so good.
Look, suffice to say, you have Facebook photos of yourself upon the bridge of the Millennium Falcon. You don't have any pictures in Hobbit.
Not yet.
I would have been.
Which one did you prioritize?
Shocked. I would have been shocked if you picked Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
that's why I was waiting for you to answer, because that way it's more epic when we get to the end of this now, because we have the one-on-one. This is like the first time that Lord of the Rings got a vote against it too, by the way. So
this hangs heavy on my heart.
I think this hangs heavy on everybody's heart here. There's not a single person in this chat right now that is happy to choose one of these over the other.
Well, we're going to have to.
Is there? I'm looking at chat. Lord of the Rings, Empire, Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings. Wow. Technically, Empire is actually winning by 1 right now.
But you were also 1 vote.
I am also 1 vote.
We got it.
I love both of these movies. I will watch any of them any day, anytime, and they both hold a very, very special place in my heart. But if I have to choose one of these, and this might just be because I am more of a fantasy fan than a sci-fi fan.
We look, it's best movie, not series.
Come here, Dusty. Give me your freaking vote, mate. Get in.
It is best movie, not series. That's one of the things that had me,
I know, and I actually think that Fellowship is a better movie. I do, but it hurts. It hurts.
Star Wars being the second best movie of all time. That's fine.
It hurts. I think chat has leaned into Empire though. So I mean, that's second best movie of all time to us, but right next to Lord of the Rings in our hearts, right?
All right.
This is a tough one. Super tough one.
That's done.
Close the book. No, don't talk about it anymore. I'm winning. Yeah. Stop.
There you go. Decided. Again, hearts pulled in every direction. We're gonna need at least a week to think about how we're gonna recover from this and bounce on for our next Fuego topic. Never to return this. This will be a hard one to never return to again.
It will be. Well, now we need to decide.
Get in the comments.
Now we need to decide what's next, because I got to say this has been a lot of fun to do this over the last.
Yeah, I have actually really enjoyed that too. I think
I'm casting my vote for video games next.
Yeah.
Are video game characters to beat other video game characters?
Ooh.
As in like my dad will beat up your dad kind of style.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can do, because obviously we do this show for all of you listening to us right now. We love you for this. I can put up a vote in our next Fuego during our next show that you could just kind of vote on, put it in our Discord, put it in our Patreon, and have several options for you guys to choose from. And whichever one wins, the next Fuego we'll do with the next showdown. Or I'll also put the option if you want us to go back to our regular Fuego. But from what I've been hearing feedback-wise, everybody seems to love this just as much as we do. So
well, get those extra things full. And plus, it's some of the nostalgia that just creeps back up. It's like some of the stuff is like, wow, that was right. Where were you first?
We also have greatest albums. We have greatest TV shows.
There's so many things we can do.
Yeah, greatest video games. We have greatest. Yeah, we
greatest
so much.
Food. We could do food too.
The food one is going to be hotly contested. Like
Yep.
Paul might fight one of us or both.
Well, remember, we're going to be on the air
yeah.
for years to come, so we can do all of these eventually.
If you see me on stream at like one of the GW Opens in Atlanta, it's with a black eye. It's because I voted against Vegas. And Paul met me at the airport and socked me once. Like, how dare you
get that out of the way, and now we can hug it out.
You step foot into my house.
Well, thank y'all very much for hanging out with us. It's been what a ride of the last few weeks. We'll be back next week. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please leave us those 5-star reviews if you haven't already. Consider checking out over on Patreon. Been a blast. Adam, Dustin, see y'all next week, everybody.
Next week.
It is.
We'll see you.
Good luck.